Welcome to Unsightly Opinions. If you're new, my name's Tamara, and today we are going to be talking about how and why I look at things and how and why I act sighted. There's a whole lot to unpack in this video, so if you like content like this, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell. I do want to mention that we are very close to hitting 500 subscribers. We should hit it in the next couple of weeks here. So to celebrate, what I am hoping to do is a Q&A video answering the questions you want me to answer about my life, my experience, even something not blindness related. Whatever you want me to answer on camera, I will do so. You can leave that in the comments down below and I will gather all of those up, and when we hit 500 subscribers, I will answer all of your questions. But with all of that preamble out of the way, let's dive into today's video. Just about my entire life, I have had people question why I look at things or how I look at things, or say that I look two-sighted, or claim that I must be faking blindness because of how I do things. It can be really hurtful to a person when their experience is entirely denied. It can be really difficult to want to live your experience if you're being told over and over and over again that you are less than, that you aren't worthy, that you don't belong, that you can't be a part of whatever you want to be a part of. And that caused a lot of difficulties for me growing up. If you've seen some of my other videos, like my blindness story or what I can see, you have an idea of what my current situation is and some of the experiences I had growing up. If you want to check out those videos, they will be linked in a card and in the description down below for you to check those out after. If you want the Coles notes of what I can see right now, it's mostly light and shadow perception. If it's too bright, I see nothing. If it's too dark, I see nothing. But when the lighting is right, I get lights and shadows. So sometimes movement, sometimes some vague shapes or outlines or things, but I have no depth, no color, and most of the time I see nothing. On the blindness spectrum, I am one step above someone who has no light perception whatsoever. So I'm classified as profoundly visually impaired or profoundly blind. But when I was younger, I had significantly more vision than that. I could see most colors, I could see things around me if they were close, I could read super large print, I could get a sense of things by looking at them. Having more vision helped me learn visual coping skills, so looking at what you're working on, looking at the paper you're writing on, looking at things around you when you're focusing on those things. When I lost more of my vision in my late adolescence and early teens, I didn't lose those skills overnight. I still had those skills even though I was having a harder and harder time making out what I was doing. A lot of people who have full vision in their adolescence and lose it in adulthood will still, quote, look more sighted because they have those skills or they have those experiences to know certain behaviors or know what is appropriate in certain situations that someone who is born blind might not have. It's said that over 90% of communication is nonverbal. So for someone who has never had a visual experience, that's a lot of stuff to try and learn and accommodate for. Whereas if you did have vision, it's a lot less and you keep a lot of that information going forward even if you can't see those things. I was kind of in the middle. I could get a sense of things, but I could never see perfectly. So my parents, anytime they saw me doing a behavior that, quote, looked not normal, or I was doing something that, quote, looked blind, they would try and correct that, and I would have lessons in a variety of different things, like looking in different directions, like looking left, looking right, looking up, looking down. That was really hard. I had lessons in appropriate gesturing. I had lessons in why you face somebody when you're talking to them and where I was supposed to kind of roughly point my eyes towards so it looked like I was making eye contact. Even though I could never see somebody's eyes, I still learned how to make, quote, eye contact because my parents felt that that was important as a social skill so that people didn't see me as different and included me more. Learning all of those skills was both a blessing and a curse because a lot of times people didn't recognize that I was visually impaired and didn't recognize that I was blind. They didn't understand that I might need accommodations or flat out denied that I was blind because I had good, quote, visual coping skills. When I lost my vision things changed slightly, but my parents didn't want me to look blind, so the same rules were in place. I just had to work twice as hard to do the same things. I still had to, quote, make eye contact. I still had to gesture. I still had to do all of those behaviors that I'd been taught as a child with less vision. I became fastidious as I started losing my vision because I didn't want to look blind. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I felt blindness was the enemy. So if I was good enough, if I worked hard enough, I wouldn't be blind. And doing that, I became fastidious about remembering where I set everything down, having a home for everything, so I never had to feel around for anything, and I never had to out myself as being something that was different. That got me into even more trouble in high school because people started thinking that I was faking being blind and I was getting all the answers to the tests, and clearly I wasn't as blind as the other blind students in the school because look how well I did. I didn't, quote, look blind. It was really hurtful to be othered both ways, and it made it really difficult for me to accept my blindness and accept the situation that I was going through. And it took me well into adulthood to be at peace with myself and be at peace with my vision loss journey and understand and forgive the people that had bullied me and recognize how difficult and how complicated the situation was and how I, in fact, was making it more difficult for myself. While I am incredibly grateful that a lot of the time I have good social skills and I've learned good skills that make people comfortable around me, I think it's really sad that we live in a society where people can't be their authentic self without being teased or bullied or tortured because of those differences. I know a lot of blind people who shake their head or rock their body because it makes them more comfortable in the space, or because somebody hasn't told them that that's not what everybody else does. When you don't have that visual input to tell you what behaviors everyone else is doing, you don't know those things. I think everybody should be given the opportunity to live their best life, whether they want to stim or rock or whether they're facing you while they're talking to you. It should be about people being able to be who they are and not something that they have to construct to fit in. So even though a lot of the times I look at things while I'm doing them, it's because of so many years of training and behavioral patterning and so many things that led me to where I am today, which makes me, quote, look more sighted than I am because I can point my eyes in the direction of where things are, or I can make it look like I'm making eye contact when I'm looking at you, or at least look like I'm looking at your face, or I've learned those social behaviors, but it doesn't mean that I can see you. And sure, even things that I never saw as a kid, like a cell phone, I still look at my cell phone. I still look when I'm chopping potatoes. I still look at the computer screen, even though 99.999% of the time I see nothing. I would ask you that if you meet someone who's blind, if you meet somebody who's low vision and they, quote, don't look sighted, don't chastise them for that. Don't bully them because they're different. It's a real challenge to have to go through the world and have a completely different experience or perception of the universe than everybody else around you. That you understand that they're doing the best they can, and that any behaviors that they have that might be different from your own are not weird or unusual. They're just them being authentically them. So whether they're stimming or rocking or flapping their hands or doing anything that you don't see as normal, it's not scary. It's not weird. It doesn't mean that they have an intellectual disability, although if they did, that shouldn't matter either. Treat everybody the way you would want to be treated. Anyways, this was a little bit heavier. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy content like this, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit those bells and buttons, leave me comments, let me know what those questions are that you want me to answer when we hit 500 subscribers. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on in between uploads, I have an accessible Twitch stream Sunday nights and some Tuesdays, 7:30 Mountain Standard Time. You can come hang out with us, and you can check out my other social media accounts linked in the description down below. But that's all for today. Bye for now.